squeaky chair. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Gabriel. This is Sean. We're gonna be talking about Avengers: Infinity War today. We actually saw it on Friday, was it? Friday night, and yeah. So we're here to talk about our thoughts on it. We're gonna try not to spoil the first half. We're gonna give you a non-spoiler, like a spoiler-free review, as much as possible, and then the second half we might spoil away. But we'll warn you when we get to that moment. We just kind of want, if you haven't seen the movie, we want to respect that and just give you our overall thoughts, and then we'll get to some nitty-gritty of specifics.
Down and dirty of the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, so what did you think, man?
Okay, so initial thoughts going into the film were, okay, now that we have Black Panther, which was the most recent Marvel movie that came out, we have the setting for one of the major scenes in the film. And from everything that I've seen so far of the trailers, which I tried to avoid as much as possible, as well as the memes that were posted on Twitter, it did not disappoint. That was probably I wouldn't say one of the best Marvel films.
Yeah.
If I had to just go overall, but it was definitely in my top 5. 100%.
I think it was my number one so far. I mean, the first Captain America was pretty good. The Winter Soldier was pretty good. But, I mean, yeah, go ahead, though. Continue.
Yeah, but, when I look at it, there were some things that were kind of, cheesy and campy, which, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with cheesy and campy, right? There are things that were clearly meant to be funny in the film, and they did it well. Personally, if I was going to go with, the best Marvel films, like I said, I'd probably put this in my top 5. I'd probably actually put it in my top 3. But I think I was just so blown away by some of the originals, like the first Iron Man.
Oh yeah,
dude, that's a friggin' classic. That is an OG Marvel movie.
I think it really set the tone for the whole series for the rest of the movies, because it. I mean, just the way that it was kind of like a new way of making movies, and just with the humor and the wit, and combined with, the gravity of the situation and stuff like that.
So what were your initial thoughts going into the film?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, my biggest thing that I liked about this movie was the fact that there were consequences. You felt the villain, you felt the bad guy. He was a force to be reckoned with. He was a freight train. There was no stopping. You felt that sense of hopelessness. You felt that your heroes kind of have that oh snap moment. Just how are we gonna get out of this? Because a lot of superhero movies, you watch it and you're I'll just use a couple of examples, Superman, or Rey from Star Wars. You knew I was gonna go there, but you watch the movies and you're not really worried for the protagonist. You're not really oh man, is he gonna get out of this? It's nah, it's Superman, or no, it's Rey. She's gonna live. She's gonna find a way. You're not really worried for the protagonist. There's no real consequence. There's no real danger. And one thing I really appreciated about this movie was the fact that there were consequences, serious consequences, and there was that sense of loss, that sense of real stakes. And the stakes were high, and the stakes, you could feel just right off the bat, you could feel that this guy was serious business. And I think every villain needs to have that, needs to be scary like that in their own way, but they need to be such a force that if they're not challenging the heroes, if the heroes aren't truly challenged to their core, then to me, it's kind of the villain doesn't carry that much weight. I believe Thanos was a very good villain, and especially for being CGI. I mean, do you know who played him?
Josh Brolin, I think.
Isn't he the same guy that's doing the Deadpool villain, Cable?
Maybe, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
By
the way, to the chat, what's up, guys? Mike Greaves, David, and welcome to the chat. Yeah, I think it's the same guy. The same.
But Deadpool isn't in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so they kind of get away with it.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
it's owned by Fox.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
But didn't Disney just buy Fox?
No idea. I can't tell you that.
I don't know. Maybe the chat can tell us. Let's
Quick,
see.
Google it.
Mike says, Rey's a deep, complex character that needs further study. I mean, like, I will... Yeah, that's true, because there's a lot of things that are unexplained about her. There's no explanation as to why she's so powerful yet. We'll see in episode 9. We'll see what happens.
We'll wait till it comes out, and then we'll review the entire trilogy as a whole.
Yeah, David says, exactly, this is one of the few recent action films that made me nervous for what would actually happen to the characters. Yeah,
I mean, Thor Ragnarok kind of had that in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the early trailers, when they show Hel, like a Hela, and she grabs Mjolnir and crushes it, and you see that in the trailer, you're like, oh god. Because you have no idea what's going to happen.
We've never seen Thor face a challenge like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she just destroyed his hammer like butter.
Mm-hmm. But I do like that this movie had weight. It had significant weight to it.
Yeah.
And without going into too much spoilers yet, as far as like some of the other things, how did you feel about like the introduction of characters, like the order in which they were introduced and like the bringing together of those characters?
Well, we've had 10 years of introduction. That's the beauty of it. That's where I think Marvel succeeded greatly, is they took their time creating this universe, right? They took 10 years. They took each character and gave them their own backstories, their own. So by the time you get to Infinity War, Civil War, you relate. Not only do you relate to the characters that are on the screen, but you know their history, you know their struggles, their weaknesses, their strengths, their personalities. They become lovable characters that you grow very fond of. And so building characters up like that, it makes the loss greater, and it makes the stakes higher. When we see Iron Man, just handle his business and take care of the villains in the previous movies, and then we see him in this movie really struggling, then or any of the other heroes, we see them struggling, then it's like, whoa, like, this is some serious stuff that they're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So I think they took their time creating this universe. They took their time developing each character very, very well. And this, to me, is what really made this movie great. The lead up, right? It all led somewhere. It all led to this point. So I think they did a great job with that. What about you?
Well, from the very first scene, which picks up after, I don't know if sequentially it picks up here, but it picks up almost immediately after Thor Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say where, but we know that it takes place after Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And you see, like, some of the heroes that have already been like reintroduced and like put together in Thor Ragnarok in this situation.
Yeah.
You see the villain for the first time, and you see how strong he is, and then it kicks to somewhere completely different. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't feel disjointed.
Yeah. Everything
feels like it was a natural progression and a natural flow to it. So it's like the beginning scene led to the next scene, which was on a different planet, which led to another scene that was on a different planet. But everything felt like it was, I don't want to say perfect, because nothing is ever perfect.
Right.
But it felt very, very good. Even when the places that they take you that have never been seen in the Marvel universe, like the place where Thor's hammer was forged. The lead there feels natural, even though we've never been there before.
Yeah.
Or Thanos' home planet. We've never seen it before, but it felt natural going there. Even though they kind of jump from one place to another, everything feels right.
Yeah.
Now, and going into that, how did you feel about the pacing of the film?
I thought it was good. They took little small moments to really kind of let the characters interact, right? Especially when the Guardians, you know, kind of meet the other Avengers, which isn't a spoiler because that was in the trailers. But, you know, whenever they do interact, you know, they have their moments, right? They have their moments where they can kind of mesh really well. But then it, you know, it all coincides and it all kind of leads back into the story and, you know, to the situation at hand. So I think the pacing was really good with that.
So as far as, without going into spoiler territory just yet, if you had to say what was your favorite scene, once again, without spoilers, what do you think that scene would be?
Oh, that's hard to say without spoilers. Let me see. Let's start with you. What did you like?
Well, personally, my favorite scene is, and when I say it, this isn't going to be a spoiler, but you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The second scene on Thanos' home planet, where Thanos arrives.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite scene. Because it shows how well that the Marvel heroes can work together, but also shows the weakness of one individual and what that can do to a team.
Yeah.
So, once again, that's my best attempt to say without spoilers. And we can get into that a little bit later, but that's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
I think I don't know if I had a favorite scene, to be honest, because there was a lot of really powerful scenes, but there was this one scene where it's so hard to say this without spoiling though. Basically, there is, how can I put it into words? There's a moment where the heroes kind of have a, and for those that have seen it can probably infer what I'm saying by this, but there's a moment where the heroes kind of they have a moment where they can end the conflict if their plan goes well.
I think that's the same scene that I was talking about.
And
the failure of one character.
Yes.
It
kind of just takes, that was a really cool scene. I mean, obviously the fight scenes in general, like all the fight scenes were really, really good. By the way, David says the Marvel characters that Fox owns are X-Men, Fantastic Four, or Deadpool, etc. So yeah, they do own Fox, I guess.
Okay.
Mike says, I liked when Thanos talks about his history. It was a great touch. Yeah.
Yep. Once again, humanizing or giving you an empathy for, you know, not only the heroes, but for the villains. Yeah. Black Panther did that really well. And in combination with that, like when you see the villain and you see his history and you hear what he's done and you hear how he got where he is. His
why.
Yeah.
Like, why is he doing this?
And I think we said this in our Black Panther review, that any time that you get to see a motivation, even if you don't agree with it, you can still like pick out like that nugget of truth where it comes from. Just like,
Yeah.
oh man, oh that hurts. Like, but like there are some films where the villain is just that, a villain. Just, you know, why are you doing this? I want to blow up the moon. But why? I hate the moon. Like it's not really a reason.
Yeah.
But these more recent Marvel movies give every villain a why, and it gives that like nugget of truth in every single one, which makes them even more relatable.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it hard to dislike the villain in most cases.
Yeah, and I think also they did a good job at kind of like, to your point, showing Thanos' humanity by showing other aspects, to where it wasn't just like, oh, it's just an evil guy that has no reason to be evil, and he's just doing bad things for no reason. But they also showed, like, you know, a caring side. They showed like a more, I wouldn't say benevolent side, but it showed kind of like they showed his emotions, and you kind of got to experience his emotions and how he was feeling through the whole process. And he wasn't one-dimensional, I'll just put it that way. He wasn't just like, oh, I'm one guy that, you know, just wants to kill everyone for no reason, and I have, you know, he had a specific purpose that he was trying to accomplish.
He wasn't mad that he just looked like a Balchinian from Men in Black.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's kind of like what I feel about that. They did a great job at like making him more
Okay. So as far as what you expected from the film versus the actual outcome of the film, was there anything, once again without spoilers, was there anything that really stood out to you and made you think like, wow, I didn't expect that?
Without spoilers?
Without spoilers. Just let's go vague, right?
Vague. Let me see. Let me try. You start.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I did not expect was, you know, the very scene that I was talking about, my favorite scene in the film. Just, I didn't expect it to seem to work so perfectly. And it kind of threw me for a loop, but then when you see how one person can affect the entirety of a group, it like flipped it on its head, like, oh, this wasn't here to show that it's easy. This is here to show how it's hard for people to work together.
Yeah.
And not necessarily just like because people butt heads, because two of the characters in that scene, who are very smart figures,
Sabine,
who are very smart figures, even they kind of like disagree.
Yeah.
But they come together and they're like, no, we're going to put aside these things because ultimately our goal is the same.
Yeah.
So I think one of my expectations was that wasn't going to happen. Like, it wasn't going to be what seems so simple, but the outcome of what seemingly simple is never that. So it kind of threw me for a loop, and I actually really like that.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess for me, like, this kind of goes back to what I said earlier. The most unexpected thing for me was just how overwhelmed the heroes were. The odds were really, really, really stacked against them, and you could feel that, you could see that, you know. And usually for like an Avengers movie, like, there's a lot more humor. Like, I still think they did a good job at, like, you know, inserting that here and there, but the overall tone of the movie was a lot darker. It was a lot more
I wouldn't say gritty, but
yeah, it just had a heavier, like, you just had that sense of consequence. Like, dang, like, they better, like, they can't be playing around. Like, they have no time to just be, you know, no lollygagging. So yeah, I think the most surprising thing for me was that the just absolute force that Thanos and his minions were. There's just the overwhelming nature of that conflict. So
I agree.
Yeah.
So let's just say that you are going to go with like your final thoughts on the film, whether it's you have to see this movie in theaters, you have to see it in like Dolby Atmos or whatever, like SDX or whatever premiere filming or film experiences in theaters, versus like 3D, because we didn't see it in 3D, but we saw it in like the second most premiere, like what was called the Atmos.
Yeah, well, for that, I'd have to go with David's, I guess, recommendation is to watch it a second time. Like, that's what I can say, because honestly, like, I feel like the rewatchability of this movie is really good. You can always rewatch it and, like, kind of focus on different things and nitpick here and there. But tell me the question again. I kind of brain farted.
So, like, what would you say is like your, I don't want to say like your rating, but like some of the final thoughts about the film, like both like positive, if there was anything that you could critique, what would it be, also without spoilers?
To be honest with you, I can't think of anything that I can critique with this movie. I mean, you probably do. I can't think of anything. Like, I thought it was really well executed, and I think that they did the whole plot twist thing. Not necessarily plot twist, but like, you know, they kept you on your toes. They did unexpected things, but without doing it just for the sake of being unexpected. Like, they all made sense. And so overall, I think this movie was just really well done. It is the culmination of 10 years.
Of a decade.
Yeah. I mean, the writers really are good storytellers, and they, you know, you can tell that they put a lot of thought into everything. They really respected the comic books, I feel like, and they respected the character of each character, if that makes sense. Like the
core. Right.
So yeah, I think overall, it definitely deserves a second viewing, and
second, third, fourth, fifth, 15th. I think the very first time you see this film, you'll be, I don't want to say pleasantly surprised, because I don't think there's anybody who's just thought like, I think this movie's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single person like that. This movie was set to be great. This movie was great. I mean, if there were any like little things that I would critique in the same scene we were referencing, once again without spoilers, the character that causes the error, I think he could have shown more rage off of what happened. But I understand that the type of character that he or she is doesn't really have that kind of rage. So the only thing that I could critique, I also have to take it back, like, I mean, it's not really within their character. And once again, I'm trying to use vague generalizations to avoid spoilers.
And once we do go into spoiler territory, I want to address that, because, yeah.
Okay. But, so what would you rate the film?
I'd give it maybe like a 9.8 out of 10. I mean, I really don't see a lot of I don't see a lot of missed opportunities, really. Like, I think it was just executed close to perfectly. Like, 9.10 for me.
9.10? Or
9.8.
9.8 out of 10?
Yeah.
I'd give it something...
Hey, Zach. Welcome to the stream. I know this is about Infinity War. Just wondering if you guys thought about Rogue One and The Force Awakens. Loved Rogue One. The Force Awakens, not so much. It was Episode 4 all over again, but
it was a fresh take on Episode 4. And while there were some things that could be improved upon, I wouldn't say that it was a bad film.
It wasn't horrible.
I'm not saying it was horrible.
Yeah, it was slightly underwhelming, but
yeah. But to see where, like, the last set of films, where they came from, they needed to kind of pull a 180 and show like, hey, we understand where Star Wars wants to be, even if they didn't do it perfect.
Yeah.
And Rogue One was so good.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Even though I have problems with kind of the development of the main character, the entire movie otherwise was good. And the final scene.
Yeah. What really helps...
final scene.
Oh, yeah. Fangirling. Yeah, but what I think really helps that movie too is the context. Because we have the context of, like, okay, we know it's after episode 3 and we know it's right before episode 4. So that context there allows or makes the fact that Jyn Erso isn't super developed or whatever more acceptable, for the simple fact that we don't really need to know everything about her just because she's inserted into this situation that we already kind of know. We, you know, the context of it, we already know the context of it.
Yeah.
So
this Rogue One is the culmination of one sentence from episode 4. These plans that were stolen by a group of Bothan spies. And just like, well, how'd they get there? That's pretty much the entirety of Rogue One, which is great. I loved it. Definitely better than I thought it was going to be after my slight grievances with The Force Awakens. But I wouldn't say it's better than any of the original trilogy. I'd say it's better than some of the prequels, and I'd say it's probably better than some of the second trilogy, because apparently having an opinion on that one makes you funny.
Yep. I think everyone's opinion is valid. I just think it's so funny when someone does or doesn't like a movie and they get attacked for it. Like, okay, first of all, it's fiction. It's a movie. Like, you didn't like it? Good. You know, good for you. You liked it?
Hashtag
good
called
for you.
out, bruh.
Yeah, it's like, it's an opinion, like, you know, anyway, but back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
What would you rate?
Dude, I'd probably rate Infinity War, because we don't know how Infinity War Part 2 is going to come out, right?
But as a singular film.
As a singular film, I'd probably give it like a 9.9. The only grievance that I had with the film was so minor that I could even think about like, well, that's not really a critique. But the point is still there. So this is the closest that I've ever given a film to a perfect score.
Yeah.
Now, there have been some films that I have given absolute perfect 100 out of hundreds to, and those are like films that will stand the test of time forever.
Timeless classics.
Timeless classics, where no matter how many times they come on television, you will watch them every time. Do you own the DVDs? Yes, I'm still going to watch it.
Name 2 of those timeless classics for you.
Oh, dude, Silence of the Lambs and Goodfellas.
And my 2 that I'm going to name are Count of Monte Cristo and The Gladiator. Like, for me, those 2 are just, I can watch them anytime, all day, every day. Zach really wants me to say Milo, and that's the name of my cat. And this, I have a language that I talk to him in.
Yeah.
So, as a request, I'm going to say Milo in the tone of voice that I use when I refer to my cat Milo. Milo. There. You happy, Zach? Anyway. So, with final ratings out of the way, and we have avoided spoilers for just about, what, 20 minutes? 20 or 30 minutes? Something like that, yeah.
Now comes the spoiler section.
Full spoilers.
If you have not seen the film and you do not want it spoiled for you, please do not watch.
Yes, stop watching now. If you haven't seen Infinity Wars, stop watching now. I mean, the stream is still going to be up on my YouTube. You can come back and watch the rest of my review later, our review later. But stop watching now, go watch it, and you can come back and watch it later.
We will give you a fair 20 seconds to make sure that if you have stepped away from your computer or stepped away from your phone and that it's still playing, that you have time to get back to your phone, get back to your computer, get back to your watching device, and stop. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going into spoilers. You've been sufficiently warned.
Yes.
Oh my god, this movie was so fucking good.
Bruh.
It's so good. Oh my god, from the first scene.
Dude.
Oh my god.
So right off the bat, dude, Hulk gets beasted.
He gets destroyed. The Hulk gets beat so bad, he has an identity crisis.
Yeah, like an identity crisis, which causes the whole rest of the movie to happen. Because if he wouldn't have had that identity crisis, if he wouldn't have gotten beat like that, if he wouldn't have gotten that beat down, movie would have been over in 20 minutes. Because you can't kill the Hulk, and every time you get him angry, like the more angry you get him, the stronger he gets. And so...
Dude. And if you think about it, every single film that the Hulk has been in, the Hulk has had a major point where he just like stops and he just rages out.
Yeah.
And he just, in Thor Ragnarok, they literally have to tell him, stop.
Yeah.
We need this to happen. And he gets mad and he's like,
yeah. And you remember at the end of Thor Ragnarok, spoilers, whenever he, like, they're about to leave and he, like, jumps up on and hops up on that,
He's basically the causer of Ragnarok.
But that creature with the horn, he's like destroying Asgard or whatever, and he goes like starts fighting that thing, legitimately, like according to Hulk's, I guess mythos. Literally, he would have just kept getting bigger, kept getting stronger, more ragey, and he would have eventually beat that thing.
Eventually.
I mean, even though that thing was colossal, I'm talking like took up the whole city, that it's that big.
Yeah. So
the only way to have killed him or to have stopped him was to literally just like throw him off of Asgard and let him float through space.
Yeah.
But
dude, in the first scene where they're in the safety ship that they escaped from Thor Ragnarok, spoiler. Once again, I really shouldn't have to say that. When they're in the ship and Thanos and goons have showed up, and like Thor is being just like pummeled, and he's basically taking it like a champ. He's just like, I'm gonna get hit, but you're not gonna stop me. I'm gonna keep coming. And Loki tries to pull his like little like fake loyalty act, and even Thanos is just like, bruh. Miss me with that. And like he picks up Thor one more time and he goes, do you have anything else? And he goes, well, we have a Hulk. And he just like starts beating Thanos down, and you have that weight like, yeah, Hulk, get it. And then his goons go, no, let him have his fun. And you're like,
yeah,
what do you mean let him have his fun? And dude, he knocks the Hulk out. Like,
yeah.
Hulk is down.
To me, like, that blew me away. That was so unexpected. Because, like, I get it. Thanos is, a bad dude. But the Hulk? You're going to tell me the Hulk is down and out?
And from the very...
And he only had one Infinity Stone at that point, right? I think just the Power Stone? Was it? Or
he had the Power Stone. And he was getting the Mind Stone. So that's why they were there. But he only beat him with the Power Stone, and he didn't even use it in that fight. You notice that he never went purple. He only did was just...
Well, didn't it like kind of glisten a little bit? Or did he use it for strength?
No.
Or for power?
No.
I mean, sure.
It's only used for destructive power. So that's why when he like clamps down and the ship like starts to like tear apart and blow up, it's destructive power.
Okay.
It's not physical power.
You don't think it translated into physical?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Thanos was that big and strong beforehand.
Wow.
That's why he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna come for these Infinity Stones, and just nothing.
What do you think made him that strong? Like, is his whole race like that, or?
I don't think it's his whole race. I just think it's his lifetime,
or his
lifetime and purpose that drove him there. Plus, he was used to conquering planets forever. Even like when you see him like go to Gamora's planet, and you kind of see like a more, I don't want to say human side, but you get to see a more father-like him, where he takes Gamora in and like he like shows her like what his plan is. Like, it's perfectly weighted, you know, it's not too much on one side, not too much on the other, and he's kind of putting the idea of like, that's why we need to get rid of half, to make sure everything's perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
And he goes like too much on one side or too much the other, and it could fall over and topple. But the perfect balance, that's what makes it good. And he gives it to her.
And that's what, you know, gave him that humanity, that fatherly, you know, when she's older and then they're sitting and just talking, you know, and she kind of airs her grievances, like, I hate you, I've always hated this place, and things like that. You know, he kind of accepts it. He doesn't really like, you know, fight it or anything. But yeah, dude, they didn't pull any punches. They showed just straight up execution. They showed up, or like when he throws her down the thing.
Oh, I was gonna talk about, like, from the first scene, straight executes Loki. Just strangles him, cracks his neck, throws him to the ground.
I love that. I loved that they weren't afraid to show things that need to be shown. Sometimes, like, I feel like these movies, they try to just cater too much to like the PG. Like, some movies don't need to be PG or even PG-13. Some movies need to show gritty stuff, like
Logan,
freaking
Deadpool.
Yes, like some movies, like, that's what I appreciate about George Lucas's Star Wars. He wasn't afraid of decapitations and limbs getting chopped off. Like, he wasn't afraid of that. You know, he showed some gritty thing, and he still considered them movies for kids, you know? Like,
yeah,
it's still,
there was just
like,
no blood. He's just like,
right.
You get,
well, there was blood in episode 4,
but
when the aliens,
that was
like,
the 70s. It was a different time.
You're right. But that's what I'm saying. The times that we're living in, they're so afraid of, like, one, like, I guess, controversy, but two, I guess,
selective outrage.
Yeah, and just like, look, if we're talking about the Avengers and we're talking about fighting, we're talking about freaking missiles and hammers and
death.
Like, it's a war. Like, there's gonna be death, you know? So, yeah, I agree, Mike. But yeah, so I really appreciated that they didn't pull any punches, that they just, I mean, whenever, what's her name? The green chick? Gamora, when she falls down, like, they actually showed that. Her falling down, and then her blood splattered. Like, they weren't afraid, and I think that they're gonna realize that movies where they don't hold back like this are the type of movies that are going to do the best at the box office, because people want to see, like, real stuff, you know? Like, they want...
To be honest, I thought the scene that you're talking about, like I thought that was going to be your favorite scene.
Which one?
The Soul Stone.
Oh,
dude.
See, here's my problem with that scene, is not that it was poorly executed or anything like that, but my problem is that I do not, and maybe why I gave it a 9.8 instead of a 10. I don't think Thanos 100% loved her.
Oh, I think he did.
I don't, because true love is like, if you're gonna say that it's 100% love, 100% true love, it's selfless. It's not selfish. And so the difference between love and lust are
well, I mean, he didn't lust after her.
Not in a sexual way, but he lusted after the power, and her life was expendable to him in order to get that power. And to me, that's where I feel like it wasn't 100%. Like, it was like a certain level of love. Like, he like I mean, he raised her and stuff, but her life was less important than that power, than his purpose. And
well, then allow me to counterpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The question is not necessarily is one life worth more than another, which is why when he says he wants to wipe out half completely at random, the way that he thought about it is, this is love. He's not thinking about himself. He's thinking about his purpose, which is to restore balance to the universe. So he had to stop, and that's why he didn't throw her off immediately. He had to stop, and that's why there were genuine tears that came down his face. He's just like, I have to sacrifice my daughter for the universe, is how he thinks it.
Yeah, I think David brought up a good point. He said, I think that's why maybe she might not be dead and might be in the soul realm. So, like, she was absorbed into the gem or into the stone. Maybe. Was it you that said that, or Nathaniel, or someone? I feel like someone said that.
Me.
But that's a good point. That would be like some straight Skyrim stuff right there. Like,
yeah,
fills the soul gem.
But like I think that's why, for me, it wasn't like that big of a deal, because even she, like, at the moment, she's like, you don't love anything, you only love yourself. And even Red Skull, who is the actual the guardian of the Soul Stone, he even told her, it's not for him, it's for you. And, like, you see even more tears, like, roll down his face as he, like, almost he does drag her, but, like, she's still standing.
Yeah.
And he's crying the whole time, obviously not bawling crying, but, like, just, like, manly tears. And then, like, he throws her over and he watches her fall, and he just stops, and, like, it cuts away, like, after you see her splattered out on the ground, and he is put back where they came in, like, laying in the water, and, like, he gets up, and you it's still grieving and remorse in a sense. He's not truly remorseful because it's ultimately for the universe. And then he has the Soul Stone in hand, and even he is just sitting there, and he ponders, is it worth it? That showed one of the most, I don't want to say realistic, because I don't think I know a single person that would, pull a The Last of Us and, say, screw humanity for this one person.
Yeah.
It's a difficult decision.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought that was going to be your favorite scene, to be perfectly honest.
It was a powerful scene for sure. It wasn't like a good kind of sacrifice to me. Like, for one, I don't believe that. Look, here's my thing on that. If, like, you don't need to go out and kill all these people. If your planet is on the brink of extinction, the whole, like, we've seen that even on Earth. Famines happen, a bunch of people die.
I think his planet was basically extinct.
Was it extinct?
I think pretty much, yeah. That's why his home planet was desert, when he showed the vision of it before, and it was a thriving metropolis. And at the end of the film, like, you see him on his home planet, and it's restored.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't a good sacrifice. Like, it wasn't a benevolent if it would have been a benevolent sacrifice, I don't see his purpose as a benevolent thing, because in my opinion, if I were him, I would just be like, well, if people are going to have a famine and starve, and the resources are going to be depleted, well, at least they had their chance, and at least they can die the natural way.
I mean, that's you. That's not him.
That's what I'm saying. That's like, if it was me, if I was him, I would think of it that way, not like, oh, I have to kill half of the people. Like, I would just let nature do its thing, and natural selection, just
Darwinian
work
theory.
it out. Because on Earth, if it happened to where, there's more people than there is food, well, eventually tons of people are going to die, right? If not all of them, but there are going to be some survivors. And the beauty of plants is seeds always sprout up and fruit always comes back up. So like nature would do that. Like you don't need to go out and kill all these people that like on Earth, the Earth wasn't at a point where they needed to kill half of the people, you know, like that wasn't like in many other planets, they didn't need to do that. So to me, it was an unnecessary thing to kill.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why he's the villain.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
I wouldn't say it was benevolent. I would say that it's clearly meant to be malevolent.
right.
Where
So, and that's why
he sees it as a good action, but obviously we, having the benefit of not being him and not knowing the full circumstance, we see that as, well, you're killing half the entire universe for what you believe is right. What gives you the right to think that, right? That's what we as the watcher and we as the good guys, if you wanted to think about it that way, what we have the privilege of thinking.
Yeah. But because it wasn't a benevolent purpose, in my opinion, that wasn't my favorite scene. Okay. And I couldn't relate. Like, if I could relate with him, then yes, that probably would have been my favorite scene. But yeah, I couldn't relate with his purpose. So
yeah, I mean, I can see that, and that's what I originally thought was going to be your favorite scene, but I understand why it's not.
Yeah.
So
it was a powerful moment, though, for
yeah.
sure. I'll give you that.
Dude, Thor's new weapon, though.
Nordic or Norse. What was it? Norse weapon, the hammer, and then it was like
Stormbringer.
Another one.
Another
one.
It was like a battle axe.
So
good.
Yeah. I mean, Thor was super OP. Like, if you wouldn't have been fighting all those other people, like, and I mean, he could have killed Thanos. I guess he's the only one that could have.
In theory, yeah. Which is why near the end of the film, where he like cuts him like right here and almost gets to his heart, even Thanos says, "You should have gone for the head." Like, because it was really close to a kill shot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And
if he wouldn't have had that thing, he probably still would have died from that eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
And yeah. But yeah, Thor was
strong.
I think he like ascended to like true god form instead of just demigod. Almost. I guess, I don't know.
No, he is full god. Anybody from the like Asgard, most of them aren't like gods if you wanted to think about it, but Odin and his wife were gods.
Yeah. I guess to go back to your point on the scene where, okay, so Star-Lord, so they have Thanos like in a freaking wrestling hold, right?
Yeah, so they got him like held down from one place. They have him being magnetized in another. They have Mantis on top of him, like putting in his head, like putting emotion and like feeling. Yeah. And even Mantis says like he's feeling pain and remorse and suffering and sorrow, and they almost have the glove off.
Yeah.
And when Mantis, like he like struggles to say this, which shows how powerful he is. He's struggling to say this through what she's doing to him.
Yeah.
That he had to sacrifice her. And Star-Lord just starts like he gets angry and just starts hitting him, which causes Mantis to lose her grip. Yeah. Which causes him to come back, which causes Spider-Man, who is pulling the gauntlet off, and he almost gets it off. It just fails instantly. And just like, oh no, you see it.
Yeah.
And what I thought was so weird about that is that was Doctor Strange's one variation where it worked. Because he said he searched like 14,600,000 some odd thousand.
Or was it? Because didn't you say that at the end of the movie he gave him the stone, and then at the very end he tells Iron Man there was only one way or something like that, right?
Okay, that's true. That's true. I guess I didn't think about that, but I guess that was the only thing that he could see.
Which I don't think all these people are actually dead. Or if they are, he has to find a way to manage time or like to change.
Well, that's the time stone, right? Mm-hmm. That's why he was able to bring Vision back after he killed himself. Or Scarlet Witch.
He doesn't have the time stone now, so how's he going to do it?
But he does have the time stone. He has the Infinity Gauntlet.
I'm saying Doctor Strange doesn't.
No, Doctor Strange doesn't because he's gone. That's the whole reason why he was able to get it.
Yeah.
But even then, what I think is going to happen for Infinity War 2, right? They're going to go find him. They're going to do it all over again. And Thanos is going to do something very similar to what he did in some of like the animated series.
Wait, time out. They're going to find Thanos?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to go find Thanos.
Like the remaining people. Okay.
So my prediction is that they go and they get him, right? And they're able to get him down, right? And in one of the animated series, he's not so easy to defeat where he's just, like you get him down once and it works. He still has all of those stones. So what he does is he plays on each of them using different tactics. So like in one of the, the reality stone or the mind stone, he puts it in everybody's head that they do have him in custody and that they're taking him back. And he is in the meantime just like puppeting people from behind the scenes. And like he could easily just come out and be like, all right, none of you are here anymore. And just change it instantly, but they all have to figure it out real quick and they'll do it again and again and again until eventually they remove the gauntlet from him. I think it's I would highly think it's going to be Iron Man that puts the gauntlet on. It would probably going to like self-adjust because it's magical. Why not? And he's going to snap everything back to the way it was. That's what I think is going to happen.
But then if it snaps back to the way it was, they still have to deal with Thanos, right?
I mean, they could just easily pop him out of existence.
with the Infinity Gauntlet, you're right.
Just instead of
and
saying...
then destroy it.
Yeah. But they clearly can't do what they did in the original comics, which was give it to DC where it had no power. # funny AF.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's going to happen for Infinity War, a.k.a. the Revengers.
Hexogenesis, welcome to the chat, says you are missing one crucial piece again, or Captain Marvel, which was in the final cutscenes. Which is supposed to come out 2019. She will be in the Infinity War 2. Yeah, so we haven't really gotten to like the end credit scenes yet, but yes, one of the final end credit scenes is with Nick Fury and I can't remember her name, but like she's a non-Avenger, but she like helps manage the Avengers. And Nick Fury pages Captain Marvel. And her symbol shows up as Nick Fury fades into dust. And so we kind of get that teaser for 2019 where Captain Marvel comes out. All I'm saying was,
is
where was Captain Marvel this movie?
It's not really a question. Where was the Punisher? Where was Ghost Rider?
Yeah, but what's the Punisher gonna do? Just punch Thanos like really hard?
Well, no.
And then get knocked out?
Well, no, not necessarily, right? But even so, like they still have those characters in reserve.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there was actually something that in Avengers, I don't think it was Civil War.
Dude, the way Samuel L. Jackson's character, what's his name?
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury, yeah.
The way he
dies.
Oh my god.
Dude.
Oh mother.
It's just so Samuel L. Jackson like.
Dude.
But yeah. Dude, okay, whenever Captain America or whenever
Captain Marvel,
Iron Man is fighting Thanos in
the nanite suit.
Dude, that fight scene, that was like one of those like a godlike creature versus like a human, just like going toe to toe. And honestly, like he fought like he was more resilient than I thought he was going to be. But
yeah. I'll say this right now, and anybody who wants to disagree with me, don't at me. Iron Man is the better version of Bruce Wayne. Do not at me.
I don't know. Like, I don't know about that one.
Come on, man. Tony Stark ascends to basically the status of God.
Like,
the closest thing you can get to as a human.
see, but like, cooler but not cooler. Because, like, his suit is doing everything to where...
But he designed
Batman...
it, though.
Yeah, like, it's cool. I'm not taking away from that, from the fact that it's cool, but Batman is literally doing most of the work. Like, his suit has some gadgets and stuff, but he doesn't fly around. Like, he has to physically jump, or he has to, like...
He glides.
Well, come on. Like...
He has a fighter jet.
Okay, the fighting. Let's, like... If we just take the fighting, for instance, he's doing all those moves, right?
Yeah,
it's not the suit moving him to do a super punch or whatever, you know, like...
Yeah, but neither is
or
Tony
giving him
Stark.
super strength.
Well, I mean, Tony Stark physically designed that suit to amplify himself, right? Just like, you know, anybody who builds a super suit, like...
Mike, good to have you on the stream. Take care.
Hey, thanks for joining. But, like, it's still Tony Stark doing everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
The suit just amplifies it. Just like Batman. The only difference is Batman is a master tactician, while Tony Stark is just smarter and richer and better.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, one point I was going to make about...
Don't at me.
I was going to make about... so you said that Star-Lord wasn't mad enough when he punched him, or raged enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like he still hasn't, like, I feel like his relationship with Gamora, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't, like, to the point where, I mean, that's kind of like his girlfriend.
Well, they're more than just boyfriend girlfriend. I mean, they've been through a lot. I mean, like, you could probably say that through, like, the first Guardians, where they kind of end up boyfriend-girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Guardians 2, where they're a couple. Like, they're the closest thing to space marriage you can get. Even in the scene where she's telling him, promise me you'd shoot me.
But then at the beginning of this movie, he's acting kind of insecure with, when Thor walks in.
Well, I mean, he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally a god.
Yeah.
And everybody even knows it, like, oh my god, this is Thor.
Yeah.
And when he speaks Groot, best. Just like...
It was an elective.
I am Groot. I don't care what you think. You speak Groot. It was an elective.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cheesy and campy how to have that one line of explanation, but doesn't require anything else. Just like, it was an elective.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah. He said long-term booty call. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, closest thing to a space marriage.
Look, I'm straight as a runway, but Thor, geez, like, man crush, like, dang.
Dude, that guy got ripped.
Like, how does he...
That guy is yoked.
I feel so sorry for him, though, because to look like that, his diet just literally must be, like, chicken, spinach, maybe eggs, salmon, that's it.
Dude.
Like... Poor guy. But, I mean,
listen, anytime that you're that good looking and that ripped and that yoked,
jeez,
you pay a price for it. And all I'm saying is, like, I ain't gay or nothing, but...
If I was, I'd tap that.
Listen, if he walked up to me, like, let's just say tomorrow, as I'm at work, he comes up to me and he goes, you, come here. I would just be like, yes, daddy. Like, I ain't gay or nothing, but sheesh.
Chris Hemsworth or Ryan Reynolds for you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Ryan Reynolds, another, like, if he shows up and he's... Ryan Reynolds, I don't think I would be like, yes, daddy. I'd just be like, sir, yes, sir. Please let me get it.
Ryan Reynolds is just so, like... See, I think Ryan Reynolds... Well, okay, so Deadpool and Iron Man, to me, have the best dialogue in the whole, like, Marvel... Because
Spider-Man kind of gets it.
Spider-Man is, like... at least he doesn't get me. Like, he's like,
That's because you're not nerdy enough.
no, like,
That's because you didn't experience.
Spider-Man is
You didn't experience what it was like to be a nerd in high school.
Spider-Man is more juvenile, and while he is witty, he's very witty. His witty remarks are more juvenile. While I appreciate Iron Man's more mature comments, like more seasoned comments, and Deadpool is like right up there. Like, he can be juvenile, but he can also be like, can dish out some like more mature commentary. I love their dialogue. Like, honestly, I think that's what makes them. It really makes them the characters that they are. And Robert Downey Jr. just even from his previous movies, like anything that comes out of his mouth, it's kind of like Samuel L. Jackson, you know.
Yeah.
They just have, or Morgan Freeman. Anything they say is just iconic.
Yeah.
But
I think there are certain characters or certain actors that were basically born to play roles. So like Robert Downey Jr. Oh yeah, Iron Man all day, every day. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Oh my God, yes, all day, every day. And even Ryan Reynolds.
Hugh Jackman is Logan.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, I feel sorry for that guy too, because he did it for what, like almost 10 years too, like, or more. Just being Sabine wants to say hi. Being Logan for that long, and he said that literally his only incentive for like the only way that he would come back is if he was in the new Avengers, because he really wants to eat bread. He can't, like, he's tired of only eating like chicken.
Dude, and he does like musicals and stuff.
And he's already like what, 45? I don't know. He's
Listen,
like
that man might as well be
50. I don't know how old he is.
That man
but
might as well be 30 because he just looks so good.
Dude, it's kind of like what's his name? Gerald Butler when he did 300.
Oh, Gerard
Butler. After that movie, dude, he got thick, and that's because he had to go through a really crazy diet of like not being able to eat certain things. So then when he was done, he was just like, screw it, I'm gonna go ham on these snacks. But
someone hand me some pasta.
Yeah. So
honey, we're going to Olive Garden.
Yeah. Hey, we love you too. But yeah, I mean, I guess we're all over the place with this Infinity Wars review.
I know.
But I don't know. I guess just like let me see. I think there was one other thing I wanted to do. Oh, when Captain America like just kind of held Thanos's finger. It was like literally his finger, like just, and Thanos was just like staring at him like this. Like, good job, human.
Dude,
and then just like
he looks at him and he's just like,
respect.
Okay, respect. That's the only thing he does, and it's just like, and it's just one finger. It's just like, puny mortal. Hey, I see you. Okay, I'm still gonna snap my fingers out. Like,
yeah, dude. Vision. One thing that I didn't understand was like how Vision. I don't know. I expected Vision to be better at combat, like to be more.
Well, the whole point was that like early on he got sucker like stabbed, right? Which kind of puts him at a disadvantage. And even then they're like, the soul stone that's on your head, or not the soul stone, but the mind stone that's on your head has to be destroyed. And then when they like almost remove it, but then they have to fight, and then he gets in another altercation and he almost dies again by getting stabbed.
But couldn't he, like, even though he's hurt, couldn't he do the ghost thing where he just can go through thing, or like things go through him?
I don't remember how. From what I remember of like Age of Ultron, I don't know if he actually had that power, but I know that he had that laser coming out of his forehead. But I don't know where that was. But I don't know. I think it mostly was just because he was hurt. That I put that as a negative. He was hurt.
Yeah. Talk to me about Squidward though.
Squidward,
aka Newt Gunray 2.0.
Oh, the let him have his fun.
Yeah,
bro, Weasel. I hated that man, but he was so good.
Dude, he was like Palpatine, dude. Like he had like a
Palpatinian vibe.
That was like the Force, man. He was using the Force in a Marvel movie. It was intense.
It was magic, man. Oh, God, he's so good, though. I hate him, but he's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. When he was fighting...
Dude, and how he goes out as a joke, just like...
yeah, but the kid knows more...
The kid knows more sci-fi.
Wait, what was it?
I think it was like the kid knows more movies.
Yeah, that's
and
what it was.
he just blasts him into space. Oh my God. Just like...
Can't stay. I haven't seen the film yet. Yeah. Like, we did half of it spoiler free, but the second half is spoilers. So yeah, you can always come back and watch the stream.
Yeah. We spent like the first like 20 or 30 minutes going without spoilers. So thank you for coming. Just check back later. And you know, when you watch back the playback, or when you watch the playback, if I could speak English, that'd be great. There actually is a point where we say that the next entirety of this is spoilers.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Hexogenesis says even if he was able to achieve the ghostly thing with the Mind Stone, Thanos had the Reality Stone and could alter that. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I mean mainly to fight those dudes at the beginning, but
yeah.
But yeah, dude, I just, like I said again, I'm gonna say it again. If Hulk didn't have an identity crisis, this movie would have been over in 20 minutes.
I don't know, man.
I do, because, dude, look, Hulk, like, literally has no invulnerabilities. Like, aside from his own mental psyche, I guess, that he just crumbled.
I don't know, man. He got knocked out.
Okay, but he got knocked down, and he just kind of, like, stayed there, and then that's whenever his mental, like, he reverted into the, like, I don't want to do this. But if he would have stayed rage mode, if that would have enraged him instead of like scared him, then there is no stopping him. Like, but anyway,
that was such a good film, though.
Yeah, great. Oh I enjoyed it a lot. I'm trying to think. There was another movie I watched recently that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed Ready Player One quite a bit. But that's like a different type of a movie. But yeah, this movie was
so good.
Really good. I think, I don't know, I've covered all the things that I kind of wanted to talk about, or that kind of stood out to me. What's his name? Rocket.
Oh, Rocket Raccoon.
Groot, when he went ham like on the battlefield, and just like, that was awesome.
We've known Groot was a OG BA, man. He walked up and he's just like, I'm Groot, and just like stabbed people through the hearts with his roots, bro.
Yeah, and the fact that Thor's new axe is made out of Groot, like, that's
dude, Groot seeing what was happening, wrapping his arms around, first off, absolutely scolding hot, like heat of the surface of the sun hot, grabs it, picks it up, and goes, cuts his own arm off, and he's just like, there you go, that's the new handle.
Yeah. I mean, he was playing video games the whole time before that, but then he decided to do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else?
The return of Steve Rogers, great.
Oh, dude, yes. Also, what's his name? The dwarf? What's the actor's name?
Oh, Peter Dinklage?
Yeah. Ironically, they made him like
the tallest character in the film.
That was great.
I just love Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I don't know. Final thoughts?
Dude, fantastic movie. Go see it like 1,000 times. So good.
I've only seen it once, but I'm probably gonna watch it again.
Dude, I'm probably gonna go watch it like 2 or 3 more times over this week.
Yeah, I have a friend, Chase, if you're watching, I'm gonna take full advantage of my friend. We love you and appreciate you. But he is a manager at Showbiz.
At a movie theater.
And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna, put him in any kind of a scrutiny, but I'm just gonna say that and say that he's my friend, and
Subtle.
yeah, just you can infer from there, imply from there. But
Oh man. So good.
yeah, that's our review, I guess.
Yeah, dude. Fantastic.
We could
go see it
sit
right
here
now.
probably like a lot longer and keep talking, but I think that's good for now.
Yeah, dude.
I do want to say, check out Sean's channel. It's gonna be in the description below. He does a lot of sit-down talk videos and talking
I wouldn't
about
say a
different...
lot of them, but
Well, not yet, but
yet.
anyway, check him out, and also it'll be at the end. At the end, you can see the little thing. You can go subscribe to him.
subtle plug.
Subtle, but not so subtle.
Yeah.
He's the one that helped me film. He was my camera guy for the boycott video, which I did recently.
And the talented filmmaker,
According to the articles, yes.
according to articles written, great production values, also said by Ethan Van Sciver. Man.
Big shout out to Ethan. Also shout out to Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. You guys have been great, very supportive. And that being said, I'm going to cut it here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.